John Stoltzfus is Managing Director and Chief Investment Strategist at Oppenheimer Asset Management. John, good morning. Good to have you with us here. I mean, you know, what we discuss may change as President Trump is still speaking, and he may announce some relief for Canada, Mexico. If he does announce, I mean, a ramp off in some way, partial rollback, how will the market take it? I mean, is it a broader message? Or you think, is there a broader message or is it all case to case? What's your sense?
We would think that most certainly, first of all, great to be on the show this morning in India. Just thank you for the invitation to be here. Would say this, that I think if we were to see a rollback in the tariffs that have been put on to Canada and Mexico, where we have interdependencies in terms of manufacturing, natural resources, all kinds of things that are key to all three economies, we would naturally say, we'll see the markets have, we would expect that the markets would have a good rally on that. I also think for the global markets, it would suggest that indeed the tariffs are not meant as something to separate us, but is rather to bring up the point that the U.S. is looking for a fairer regime of tariffs among its trading partners around the world. And it's also looking to bring back some businesses that were given away over the course of the last 40 or 50 years, or even more than that, since the end of World War II, where the U.S. practiced really a largesse that was not beneficial ultimately to the U.S. economy. It was terrific for getting better prices on goods and, that were imported into the country, but it did damage our manufacturing base and even our ability to produce health products here in the United States. We learned that, of course, just recently with the COVID-19 virus, when we couldn't find things in cities like New York and throughout the U.S. So this all looks like where we are is something completely different, as Monty Python might say, in terms of administration in Washington. I think the president, and I'm not political, when I speak as the chief investment strategist of Oppenheimer, I'm politically agnostic. But we would say that what's noted here is things like a secure border, bringing down inflation, bringing jobs back. But also, I think ultimately, the tariffs are not meant to separate our trading partners, but rather to bring us together and likely even bring about a more robust trading system where it diversified away from one country centricity in terms of the global supply chain, which should be marvelous, we think, for India, for Mexico, and many other countries around the world, both in emerging and developed international markets.
John, hi, great to have you on the show today. So you just want to focus on, what chatter you're hearing around a market like India, because we're in this global tariff storm and it's all sort of swirling around us. But what's happened is that India has been underperforming for a while now. I mean, there are the U.S. concerns, there's China. I don't know, are you hearing that people are getting more optimistic on China? And what's the sense? Why this disenchantment with a market like India?
I am surprised at the disenchantment with a market like India, though I would say this, India had a terrific run for a while there. And then I think what happened for investors who were used to investing in China and they saw China making an effort to revitalize its economy, I think some traders went into that market and they moved in to take advantage of very low prices and likely, in the case of China, established business relationships which are still going to be new for India. But I think ultimately that India really is a winner in this diversification process. In the emerging markets, India, in the developed international, Japan, Korea, and a variety of others, and in Latin America, Mexico and Brazil and Peru and Chile.
John, we are going to wrap up this conversation, but hope you come back soon again.
Thank you.
We're going to cut back to that speech which is going on, the State of the Union address, so lots of moving parts there. Thank you again very much, and it's a pleasure for us to have you as well.